You may have heard of hundreds of mythical creatures from traditions like ancient Greek mythology, Norse mythology, Viking mythology, and other indigenous cultures. Most of the time, these creatures are just unfamiliar or scary monsters that people sighted many years ago and couldn't recognize. As the story spread, they gained names and exaggerated details. Luckily, some have been captured on camera, and today's video captures the 10 mythical creatures caught on camera. Number 10. Mermaids. Who knew Ariel came from Israel? A fact that makes Kiryat Yam, an otherwise unassuming sea town on Israel's Mediterranean coast, quite fascinating. Well, this footage will make you believe in her existence. Far from the many doctored footages found online, this clip of a mermaid jumping into the water is the closest we'll ever be to discovering their existence. In general, sightings of many otherworldly beings tend to be easily dismissed by lack of 1. Concrete proof, and 2. Official interest. However, after watching this clip, what more proof do you need? Is this another conspiracy theory? Local officials are allegedly offering a $1 million reward for anyone who can provide verifiable video proof of the mermaid that's said to inhabit its waters. The sightings have been so frequent that they're occasionally mistaken for one of the town's sunbathers. The last 15 years have seen hundreds of reported incidents, both from the locals and visiting tourists. It's not quite solid evidence, but this video stands as the clearest example documented so far. Number 9. El Chupacabra. A beast as synonymous with South America as vampires are with Transylvania. El Chupacabra has allegedly terrified locals and mauled animals since its first sighting in 1995. Since then, countless livestock have turned up lifeless with their blood sucked out through their necks, and farmers and villages have contributed enough sightings to make the creature both consistently described and regionally feared. The most definitive sightings come from Texas, which made global news after the remains of an unidentified dead animal were found outside a woman's ranch. It had a dog-like appearance, but with a face and body structure that didn't match any known or native species. The creature was responsible for attacking livestock and other known farm animals in the area. Despite further examination, wildlife officials refused to officially recognize this creature as El Chupacabra, and the case remains open. Do you think they know something we don't? Number 8. The Sea Serpent. Far from the anaconda is this ferocious creature believed to patrol the ocean. Old sailors told elaborate stories of its existence so much that it became folklore. The creature, as you may have guessed from its name, is supposedly a monstrous fish-snake hybrid. Like the kraken, the sea serpent really exists, even though its features and stories are heavily exaggerated. For a start, the supposed sea serpent is actually an oarfish, which really looks like a fish-snake hybrid. But that's where their similarities end. The modern-day oarfish is similar in size, though, longer than your ordinary fish. They're so long that they can reach lengths up to 30 feet. This makes them the longest bony fish in existence. Unfortunately, not much is known about them as they live deep underwater. However, we know it neither feeds on humans nor fish, but on small marine creatures like crustaceans and krill. It was officially discovered in 1772, centuries after the legend it inspired first appeared. Number 7. Pixies. Far from animations, fairies and pixies have been part of us for a long time. Although there have been several hoax videos on fairy discoveries, history was made in 2015 after a bird of prey rescue center in Cornwall was clearing out its falcon nest when they stumbled across a shocking piece of physical evidence. Get this, they came across a partly decomposed skeleton of a human that was a mere 1 inch tall. The remains were taken to 2 local podcast hosts, one a prop designer responsible for his own fairy hoax some years previous, and both were unable to explain the bones. The remains have since been sent for proper scrutiny and identification, but at the time of writing, no conclusive verdict has been given either way over their legitimacy. Number 6. The Sea Unicorn. Did you know that far from the one-horned Snow White horse, we know exists a sea creature with a similar horn? It's believed that many people from across the world have spotted the sea unicorn, all with slightly different descriptions. Martin Frobisher, an English explorer, led an expedition to Canada in 1577 when he came upon the sea unicorn. What the explorer saw was not a mythical creature, but actually a narwhal. In 1648, Tulpius, a Dutch anatomist, examined a stranded narwhal in the British Isles. The narwhal doesn't have a horn so much as it does a large tusk protruding from its canine tooth. This tusk was confused for a unicorn horn, and the myth proceeded from there. Number 5. Bigfoot. Bigfoot, or Sasquatch, is a giant ape-like creature that some people believe roams North America. Most Bigfoot sightings occur in the Northwest, where the creature is linked to indigenous myths and legends. The story of Bigfoot has been around for as long as people have been exploring wildlands. As early as the 5th century BCE, explorers and people who ventured into the jungles and forests have told the tales of large monsters that looked like humans from afar, ravaging their campgrounds. These monsters would leave behind their footprints and earn themselves the name of Bigfoot. There have been more than 10,000 eyewitness accounts of Bigfoot in the continental United States in the last 50 years. In these accounts, Bigfoot is usually described as being about 8 to 10 feet tall and covered in hair. This leads most scientists to think that maybe they're just gorillas. Number 4. Leprechaun. This is somehow hilarious, but who wouldn't mind a piece of free gold? In 2006, a camera crew from a local television station in Alabama went to investigate after citing rumors. Some locals in the area soon told reporters that people had sighted a leprechaun hiding in a nearby tree. Although no one had a picture taken to back these claims, an amateur sketch of the diminutive Irish creature was produced. The colorful interview with local residents helped to make the report an early viral video on YouTube. Some believe this story was merely a prank played by the residents at the expense of the news crew. The man who spotted it firsthand has continued to push the existence of the mythical creatures. Number 3. Yeti. The Himalayan people of Nepal and China have traditionally talked about the existence of a big and hairy 6-foot-tall creature they call the Yeti. It was all a legendary myth until some British explorers claimed to have found its footprints while climbing the Everest. According to them, their guides would refer to the Yetis as Meto Kangmai, meaning man-bear, or rather a snowman. However, a journalist who interviewed the group mistranslated Meto as filthy instead of man-bear. He later changed filthy to abominable because it sounded better. That was how the Yeti got its more common name, the abominable snowman. However, if we went back to its correct Himalayan name, the man-bear of snow, we would quickly realize we're dealing with a human-sized bear that lives in the snowy region. The Yeti is actually the Himalayan brown and black bear, two real subspecies of bears that live in the Himalayas. DNA tests have helped back these claims. Number 2. Dragons. Do you believe in dragons? Despite being adorned on the Welsh flag, it has nothing to do with any sort of local legend or folklore. However, the country has become something of a hotbed for sightings of creatures in the last few decades. As recently as 2001, British naturalists working in a quarry in central Wales spotted a creature they described as a 2.5-foot in length serpentine dragon with 4 limbs and a head resembling that of a seahorse. Perhaps most fascinating of all, they reported that the creature was airborne but didn't display any obvious wings. In under 5 minutes, the creature vanished into one of the quarry's many adjacent caves. Since there was no solid photo evidence, the reports were dismissed as misleading. Despite this, several similar sightings of the creatures have been reported, all with consistent descriptions. Still don't believe in dragons? Check out Komodo dragons. They're living, breathing dragons, even if they don't breathe fire. Number 1. Werewolves. Even in daylight, the road seems isolated and eerie, so it's not hard to see why creatures aiming to stay hidden would select such a spot to settle down. One man, conveniently without any recording equipment, citing a mythical beast and pleading with everyone to believe them is one thing. The UK Highways Agency getting a series of reports over a number of years about a werewolf dodging cars attempting to cross the main road between 2 patches of forest is another. Danny Morgan is among those that have come face to face with this human man and half creature. He'd never seen a wolf in the wild, so he slowed when the wolf approached the road. It then stood up on two legs and walked quickly across the road. According to Danny, it walked just like a human would. In Stoke, a small city in England's Midlands, cases dating as far back as 1975 and as recently as 2006 have seen motorists making panicked phone calls regarding a human man-wolf creature near the 10A junction of the M6 motorway. Most recently, a man in Stoke Sentinel gave a vivid description of a tall black wolf creature on two legs which bounded across the road, narrowly missing his car before disappearing into the forest by the roadside. Calls have since been made for more camera equipment to be placed on this stretch to verify the stories and shed light on the creature. Until next time, adios.